For thousands of years, ancient civilizations understood feminine power very differently from how it is portrayed today. In early societies, a woman was not viewed as weak or secondary. She was seen as a source of life, wisdom, and prosperity. In many ancient cultures, feminine energy was associated with creation itself, the ability to give life, sustain communities, and bring harmony between the human and the unseen world. In ancient Mesopotamia, one of the earliest known civilizations, the goddess Inanna was worshipped as a symbol of abundance, fertility, love, and power. She was not passive. She did not chase. She attracted devotion, wealth, and influence through her presence and authority. Inanna represented a core ancient belief. Prosperity flows toward feminine energy that is embodied, confident, and rooted in self-worth. In ancient Egypt, women held rights that were rare even by modern standards. They could own property, inherit wealth, run businesses, and initiate divorce. Egyptian culture honored the goddess Isis as the embodiment of feminine intelligence, protection, and creative power. Isis was believed to restore life, protect families, and ensure prosperity. The feminine was seen as stabilizing, the force that holds society together. These cultures understood something modern life has largely forgotten. A woman attracts abundance not by struggle, but by alignment, not by force, but by inner coherence. When a woman was in harmony with herself, her household, and her rhythms, prosperity was believed to follow naturally. In ancient Greece, before or later patriarchal shifts, feminine energy was honored through goddesses such as Demeter and Aphrodite. Demeter was associated with harvest, nourishment, and the cycles of life. She represented the understanding that abundance is directly connected to care, patience, and respect for natural rhythms. When harmony with these rhythms was broken, scarcity followed. When they were restored, prosperity returned. Aphrodite, often misunderstood today, was not only a goddess of beauty. She symbolized attraction, pleasure, and life force itself. Her power was not obedience or submission, but magnetism. Life moved toward her naturally. Through Aphrodite, ancient cultures expressed a powerful idea. Abundance flows toward what feels alive, harmonious, and emotionally fulfilled. In ancient India, feminine energy was described as Shakti, the creative force that moves through all existence. Without Shakti, nothing could be created or sustained. Shakti was not something to be controlled or restrained. It was something to be honored and allowed to flow. When this energy was blocked, life stagnated. When it was expressed, life expanded. Across these cultures, feminine power was deeply connected to the body. Ancient healers and philosophers understood that when a woman lived in constant stress, her intuition weakened. When her body felt unsafe, her creative force contracted. But when the body was calm and grounded, clarity returned. Attraction was never seen as manipulation. It was understood as a natural response to inner coherence. Modern life has disconnected many women from this ancient understanding. Today, women are taught to push, to prove, to compete, and to survive in constant tension. Productivity is valued more than presence. Effort is praised more than alignment. Over time, this creates exhaustion, emotional numbness, and the belief that abundance must be earned through sacrifice. Ancient traditions did not glorify exhaustion. They honored balance, cycles, and rest. In many early societies, women were seen as guardians of rhythm, daily rhythm, seasonal rhythm, emotional rhythm. When these rhythms were respected, communities flourished. When they were ignored, imbalance appeared. True feminine power begins in the state of the body. Ancient healers understood that the body holds wisdom. When a woman lives in chronic stress, her nervous system remains in survival mode. In this state, intuition becomes quiet and creativity contracts. But when the body feels safe, the mind softens. And when the mind softens, inner clarity returns naturally. Attraction, according to ancient wisdom, is not something that can be forced. It is not strategy or control. It is a response to coherence. When a woman is calm within herself, grounded in her body, and emotionally present, life responds. Opportunities appear. Support increases. Prosperity finds a way in. This is why ancient cultures placed so much importance on daily rituals that supported calmness and connection, time in nature, silence, slow movement, shared meals. These were not luxuries. They were foundations for a balanced and abundant life. In many ancient traditions, the womb was honored symbolically as a center of creation, not only as a place of physical birth, but as a source of intuition, emotional intelligence, and inner knowing. This understanding existed across cultures, from ancient Egypt to India, where feminine creativity was seen as the foundation of both life and culture. When a woman suppresses her emotions, ignores her inner signals, or lives in constant rush, this creative center becomes disconnected. Not in a mystical sense, but in a very real psychological and emotional way. Disconnection from feeling leads to disconnection from intuition. And when intuition is disconnected, life decisions become forced rather than guided. Slowness was considered sacred in ancient societies. Rituals were slow. Daily life followed natural cycles. The feminine principle was never rushed. Slowness allowed wisdom to emerge. It allowed clarity to surface without pressure. When a woman slowed down, she aligned with life rather than resisting it. Ancient wisdom taught that slowness is not weakness. It is power. The feminine listens before acting. She feels before deciding. She senses the right moment rather than forcing outcomes. When slowness is restored, trust between a woman and her body returns. This trust changes everything. When the body is trusted, tension releases. When tension releases, creativity expands. And when creativity expands, abundance begins to move again. Self-worth was a central pillar of feminine power in ancient cultures. Not ego, not superiority, but a quiet inner certainty. A woman's value was not something she had to prove or defend. It was assumed. This inner knowing shaped how she moved through life and how life responded to her. A woman who knows her worth does not beg, chase, or over-explain herself. She does not exhaust herself trying to be chosen. She allows, and this allowance creates space. Ancient wisdom understood that abundance requires space in order to enter. Boundaries were deeply respected. In many early societies, a woman who honored her limits was seen as wise, not selfish. Rest was not considered laziness. It was preservation of life force. When a woman depleted herself, her household and community suffered. When she was nourished, everyone benefited. Beauty also held sacred meaning. It was not superficial decoration, but harmony between body, emotion, and environment. To care for oneself was an act of respect toward life. Ancient cultures believed that a woman who treated herself with care aligned herself with prosperity. Because care creates continuity, this relationship with care extended to all areas of life, including material resources. Prosperity was not separated from emotional well-being. Inner nourishment and outer abundance were seen as interconnected. The feminine relationship with money was once understood as a relationship, not a struggle. In ancient societies, money and resources were seen as energy of exchange, neutral and responsive. When approached with respect and balance, they flowed. When approached with fear, force, or resentment, they resisted. Ancient wisdom taught that abundance is not about accumulation, but about circulation. Giving and receiving were two parts of the same movement. A woman who gave endlessly without receiving created imbalance. And imbalance eventually led to exhaustion and scarcity. Receiving was never considered weakness. It was considered balance. Receiving support, receiving care, receiving resources, receiving money, all were essential for harmony. Life cannot give to a closed hand. Emotions played a central role in this understanding. Ancient cultures did not teach women to suppress their emotions. Emotions were seen as messengers, signals of alignment or misalignment. Suppressed emotion created stagnation. Felt emotion created movement, and movement invited flow. A woman who allows herself to feel remains fluid. She adapts without losing herself. And life moves toward what is fluid, responsive, and alive. This emotional openness strengthened intuition. Intuition was trusted as a form of intelligence. Decisions were not rushed, they were sensed. When intuition was honored, outcomes unfolded with less resistance. Daily feminine alignment in ancient wisdom was simple. It did not require complex rituals or special knowledge. It was rooted in presence, awareness, and connection to the body. Women were encouraged to listen inwardly before acting outwardly, to feel before deciding, to trust the signals of the body as a source of guidance. Feminine power was deeply connected to trust. Trust in the body, trust in timing, trust in life itself. This trust did not mean passivity or inaction. It meant cooperation with life rather than constant resistance. When trust was present, force became unnecessary. Ancient traditions honored cycles, growth and rest, expansion and contraction, light and darkness. Women were not expected to be productive at all times. Rest was understood as preparation for creation. Without rest, creation lost its depth and sustainability. You were never meant to struggle constantly. Exhaustion was not a virtue. Sacrifice was not the path to abundance. Alignment was. When a woman lived in alignment with her rhythms, her nervous system calmed, her intuition sharpened, and her life began to flow with greater ease. Abundance was seen as a natural state, not a reward. It emerged when inner and outer worlds were in harmony. Ancient wisdom reminds us that feminine power was never meant to be conquered, controlled, or proven. It was meant to be remembered. It lives in presence, in softness, in awareness, and in trust. This power does not demand, it invites. You do not attract abundance by becoming someone else. You do not attract prosperity by forcing outcomes or chasing validation. You attract abundance by returning to yourself, by honoring your body, by trusting your rhythm, by allowing life to meet you where you are. Softness is not weakness. It is intelligence. It is sensitivity. It is the ability to feel what is true and respond with clarity rather than force. Ancient cultures understood this deeply, and this understanding is still available to us today. As you carry these words with you, remember that abundance is not distant or unreachable. It is responsive. It responds to coherence, respect, and inner harmony. When you create space within yourself, life fills it. This is not new knowledge. It is ancient remembering, and it has always lived within you.